Today, we're going to be going over how to fit a cheat meal into your weekly budget and still lose weight. All right. So, the cheat meal protocol. So, essentially, guys, what derails people the most is having cheat meals throughout the week. And even though they're eating in a deficit most days of the week, they still can't seem to lose weight. And that's because their cheat meals become so high in calories that it cancels out the deficit for the remaining days. And this is what people don't understand is truly how many calories are in these meals when you go out to eat, right? Like when you go out and have something, we're talking upwards of 3,000 calories just for the meal. And for some people, that's more than they're supposed to have in a single day. And so it destroys their deficit. Okay. So let's just look at some of the numbers and understanding like how this actually works. Okay. So the first thing to understand is that it's not a day-to-day equation. It's a weekly equation. Okay. So how many calories can you consume throughout the week in order to lose a pound of body fat? And that should be most people's goals. Okay. And so in order to create that structure, what we're looking to do is have a 500 calorie deficit per day, which would come out to 3,500 calories per week, which would equal 1 pound of body fat. All right. So we're looking to get ourselves into a 3,500 calorie deficit for the week. Okay. And on average, that would be somewhere around 500 calories a day. If you weren't going to have any cheat meals and just go straightforward about things, this would be a great way of accomplishing it. So let's say your maintenance calories is somewhere around 3,000, meaning you can eat 3,000 calories because you burn 3,000 calories a day, and that is where you will maintain your weight. You would then eat 2,500 calories a day to create a 500 calorie deficit per day. Times 7 equals 3,500 calories per week, which equals 1 pound of body fat per week, which is a great way of going about a weight loss diet. Now, let's just create an example for someone so we can have some numbers, okay? So let's just say you're a 200-pound male. You multiply your body weight by 12. That's a good way of going about things to set the caloric intake. You get 2,400 calories per week, okay? That's with the deficit built in. So we're assuming that if you eat 2,400 calories a day, you are going to lose 1 pound of fat per week. 2,400 calories per day comes out to 16,800 calories per week. So once again, we're not going to look at this on a day-to-day thing. We're going to look at this on a week-to-week. So you have 16,800 calories throughout the whole week to consume in order to lose that pound of fat. So there's going to be a couple ways that we can set this up to allow for a cheat meal. Okay. So the biggest thing to first understand is we're not talking cheat days. We are talking cheat meals, and we are going to assume that that cheat meal has somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 calories. Okay. If you don't believe me, go look up the Cheesecake Factory, go look at their menu and go look at what a normal meal looks like. Not one of their skinny-licious meals, like a normal meal. Okay. Franchises by law have to put the calories that are in their meals. Okay. I think it's once you own more than 3 or 5 operating restaurants, you have to do that. Okay. And so you're not going to see this at your, hometown restaurant. They're not going to put the calories on there, but it's going to give you a really good idea of like what's in a bacon cheeseburger and fries when you go out to eat. And it's a lot more than you think. Okay. So there's 2 ways that we can make it fit the budget. We're going to either bank it across the week or bank it inside the day. And I'll show you how we could set this up. So when we're banking it across the week, we said we were going to have somewhere around 2,400 calories per day. Now, instead of doing that, what we're going to do is we're going to decrease the calories every day to 2,150, which is going to give us an extra 250 calories per day. Okay. And on that day that you have the cheat meal, you're going to eat exactly the same plus your cheat meal. Okay. And we're going to assume that cheat meal is somewhere around 3,900 calories, which it easily could be. Okay. So if you were to eat 2,150 every single day plus your cheat meal, okay, the cheat meal plus the 2,150, we're going to assume it's around 1,800 calories, somewhere in that nature. That's going to give you 3,900 calories that you ate in that day. But guess what? The total calories for the week still comes out to 16,800. So in order for us to do that, what we needed to do was decrease the calories each day, okay, to make up for however many calories is in that meal plus your normal meals to give us the same amount of calories for the overall week. Okay. And at the end of the day, we are still eating 16,800 calories and we will lose that pound of body fat, right? Now, that is how we would bank it across the week. So we would drop each day to allow for that. The second way of doing it is we're going to bank it inside the day. So essentially, we're going to eat normally how we should, 2,400 calories per day, the normal deficit. But on the cheat meal day, instead of having um, our normal meals, we aren't going to eat as much that day. We're going to eat significantly less, maybe nothing that whole day, except that cheat meal. Okay. And that cheat meal is going to be somewhere in the 2,500 cal range. And so you'll basically be fasting all day, and then you have a big loaded cheat meal, and that is your day. But guess what? Because you did that, you can eat more food on the other days, and you could have that cheat meal and still lose 1 pound of body fat. Okay. So that's the biggest thing to understand, is that there's multiple ways to skin the cat. All we need to do is create the caloric budget by either decreasing calories each day of the week, or by decreasing calories on that day that you're going to have that meal. But really, for most people, what that's going to come down to is not really being able to eat that day. Typically, what I would have my clients do that do try to just bank it in on one day is have protein and veggies only that day. So they're eating maybe like 100 to 150 grams of protein plus green vegetables. So their total consumption of calories is somewhere between like 400 to 600 before they go have that 1,500 to 2,000 calorie meal. And it ends up working out perfectly fine. Okay. And both are great options. Like I said, both land at that caloric weekly deficit of 16,800 calories, which puts us in a 500 calorie deficit, and you're going to be able to lose weight. And so the biggest thing I think that people need to understand is that they want to be able to have a social life and fit that in, which is totally acceptable. And I completely understand that. And these are the ways you go about it. But in order to do that, you do have to make sacrifices somewhere. So that might mean each day you're going to feel a little bit hungrier because you're bringing the calories down more than you normally would have to. Or the day that you do decide that you want to have that cheat meal, you're simply just going to have to not really eat much that day other than protein and vegetables. And then you get to have that meal, and then you're back to your normal diet the next day. Both work, but both are very possible. And this is how you can go about it. Anyone else who tells you pretty much anything different than this is lying to you. I can promise you. You'll see people on social media explain to you, oh, you can have a cheat meal whenever you want, and this and that, flexible dieting, this and that. It's not going to work. I promise you. And so personally, how would I go about this? How I went about it was the second way. So I would go about it this way. So I would eat whatever I could on those days to make sure I was fueled for my performance in the gym, having, normal energy throughout the day. So I'm not feeling terrible 6 days of the week. And then that one day where I want to have that cheat meal, I have to grind that day. I just have to accept the fact that I'm going to feel hungry for a majority of it, but I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and then I get to go have that big meal, which I really enjoy. All right. So that's how I personally go about it. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know a lot of people want to be able to have that one cheat meal a week to be able to spend time with friends and family. And so I thought this would be a great video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. As always, please like, subscribe. That's greatly appreciated. And I will catch you guys next time.